Today on DIY Willy, we're going to look at installing the POWERAID Throttle Body Spacer. We'll take a look at what's inside, the instructions, and see if we can't get it done. I like the color. It's a nice anodized red. O-ring, as usual, doesn't quite fit in the hole that good. We'll probably use a little bit of Vaseline on the O-ring to help hold it in place. While we put it in, you can see it's kind of not quite the same size. We got some hardware, some longer bolts. That's the longer bolts with washers, and these are regular, I think looks like 10 millimeter, vice the 6 hex head that's in there. These are spacers that space intake tube off. We probably will not use those because we don't have the stock intake tube. So, see what else is in here. We got some instructions and a really bad picture, but we'll figure it out. Simple tools needed. We just need a 532 Allen wrench, 8 millimeter socket, and a standard screwdriver. Should do the trick to put it in. Yeah, there's a little information on it. Yeah, it looks fairly easy. We've got a carb sticker that you put on the car to make it smog legal. And there should be a POWERAID sticker there for throttle body spacer. Pretty simple overall. I've had that throttle body off a couple times. I don't foresee any problems with it. It should be very simple. The only concern I have is this O-ring that doesn't quite fit. It doesn't quite fit in here. You know, the size is just a hair different. But like I said, I'll put a little you can see right there. I'll put a little Vaseline on it and see if that'll help hold it in place while we screw in the throttle body. I don't want to get it off center or get any type of vacuum leak for it not quite seating in the hole. But yeah, let's get it on the car and see how it sounds. So the first thing the instructions say is to disconnect the battery, the negative side. We'll get that done straight away. There we go, battery disconnected. The throttle body, we'll take it off. It's got 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It takes a number 5, I guess Allen wrench, I guess you'd call it, or Allen socket. Fits in there like that. And we'll just loosen them up. You know what? Doesn't need the extension. There. We just loosen them all up. I just had this off when I did the spark plugs, so everything should be really easy to get off. One more down here on the bottom. Like so. There. Throttle body is off. Alright, let's put it back together. I've got a little bit of Vaseline on the O-ring to help hold it into place. Gotta work fast. We got the first screw to go on. Let's see if we can maybe do it to this side. Get them all started before we tighten them up. Hopefully that O-ring stays in place. Okay, now we'll just run them in. Should be as easy as that. Now you want to run them in a kind of a cross pattern. That way it seats good. I like having these 10 millimeters here instead of that Allen bolt. These just, I think, are a lot better. Torque them to down or about there. I think it's inch-pounds. I don't know what it is. I don't have the specification. But I've always just kind of done it tight, you know, and it'll work just fine. Don't want to put too much on it and crack the plastic. I don't know why they don't use lock washers on those, you know. I guess they're not something that's going to come in. It's not something that's going to come off. There. I like that. That looks really good. So now we just need to reconnect the intake tube, the vacuum hose we took off, and the map sensor, and reconnect the battery, and we should be good to go. Nothing else was disconnected. So yeah, I like it. Adds a little bit of color to the engine compartment other than yellow for the battery. Let's put it back together. All right, let's get that intake tube back in. I always like to keep my clamps at the same. I always like to keep my clamps right here and nice and neat, orderly. Oh, woohoo! All the way to the bottom. Anyway, I like to keep my clamps right here, all nice and right beside each other, so they kind of look a little neater. Get the other one. And we can plug the map sensor back in. We got this hose goes back on. That didn't go all the way to the bottom. Boogers. Okay, so we got that hose clamp back. Slip the hose on just like that. And we'll give the clamp a couple turns, tighten it up real good. Not too tight, we don't want to collapse the plastic hose. Or the plastic tube rather. Just like that. Double check everything. Yep, that's tight. That's good. Good, good. Bueno. Now anytime I take a battery terminal off, I always like to give it just a little bit of a cleaning here. Make sure we get a good strong connection. Never hurts. They get corroded easy. We'll clean this side up too. Really simple. Run that through it a couple times. That'll clean any corrosion or any corrosion out of there. Make it just work a lot better. Okay, here. Got that on. That's actually a 1/2-inch wrench, but I always just use my crescent wrench. Crescent wrench does fine. Good and tight. Okay, that looks good. We got everything back together, and probably one of the easiest projects I've done in a while. So we'll get the camera mounted on the tripod, and we'll start it up, see how it sounds. Before we start this up, let's talk about it for a minute. Now, these throttle body spacers, they kind of have mixed reviews. A lot of people say they do absolutely nothing for performance. Some people say that they increase performance, causing Venturi effect, I believe, inside the intake manifold. They do make a whistling sound. I think that's mainly what they're for, just give you that whistling sound. Nissan builds into their intake manifold like a grid, and the grid is going to flatten out the air, you know, take away the turbulence that this would probably cause. So I don't believe it's really going to do anything here except make a nice whistling sound when you mash on the gas. So yeah, let's start it up and see what it sounds like. Okay, so that was the install of the POWERAID Throttle Body Spacer. It was very, very easy. I mean, it literally took, I don't know, 10 minutes. I don't know how much time it actually takes on film, but it literally took like 10 minutes to put it together. Yeah, I wish I could have cleaned this engine up a little bit before I did the install, because this engine compartment is filthy as it was just when we said, just as we said when we did the spark plugs. But you know, it still runs great. Last thing I need to do is put the carb sticker there. So we'll peel the backing off of it. And we're gonna put it right here. There. Now we're smog legal with our throttle body spacer. That goes along with our Volant carb exempt sticker and now our air raid. It was, like I said, it was a very easy install. Literally took about 10 minutes to do, maybe a little bit longer trying to film it all, set up camera angles and have the right tools ready. But honestly, it was a simple install, something you could do in a parking lot of a store if you needed to. Yeah, so you heard it run. Didn't really hear the whistling it claims to develop, but hey, we'll get it out on the road and we'll give it a shot, see what it sounds like. Okay, thanks for watching. Come back, DIY Willy, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, all those fun things, and see you in the next.